Hey, thank you guys for being on time. We usually wait about 5 or 10 minutes until after the Zoom starts just to let people join in. Most people are usually late, so give us a 5 or so minutes and we'll get started, you guys.
Hey Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Justin?
When you guys do get started after you get through like intro stuff, I want to pick your brain about I have a potential sub two situation I think will work out pretty good. It's
Okay,
the first one I really come across. I'm an agent in Vegas.
nice.
It's the first one I've came across that I feel like would actually make sense. Um, the I have some like generic sub two contracts, but I know Pace has some kind of particular ones.
Hmm.
Um, I'm open to join the program. It hasn't really been something that I've had to do yet.
Yeah,
Um, just want to kind of feel you guys out a little bit more, I guess, on like what is exactly offered and maybe how those contracts differ from ones from like I have Pineda's, and then I think I found one of Pace's old ones. I just don't want to mess it up when I pitch it to the seller.
yeah,
It's actually listed with another agent at my brokerage. They want out of it, and it's been sitting for like 88 days.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, man. Yeah, sounds like a good one. I'd definitely go over it with you, answer any questions that you may have. So yeah, we'll go over it for sure, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Cool. All right, thanks,
Just
Justin.
if you want to just call on me whenever you're ready or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I got
Appreciate
you.
it.
Cool. Thanks, man. What's up, Jim? How you doing, man?
Me?
What's that? Sorry, man. I had to unmute you.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing? You with Donda?
I'm not. I'm actually trying to juggle this job site right now in St. George. Gonna be pretty darn busy on that. We're trying to figure out how to dump one of our W-2 jobs so we can go full time at this. Um,
Nice.
yeah, we're both pretty busy during the day, which really sucks because I would much rather be calling some agents and some sellers.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well. Shoot, man, that's exciting. Hopefully you guys can figure it out. I'm rooting
Oh,
for
we
you.
will. Yeah, we will for sure. Yeah, fairly certain I'm gonna wrap this project up and go full time. Although I make a little more than Donda, but they want to send me to Chicago after this, and I'm not going to Chicago, man.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely figure it out.
Cool,
How are
man.
you doing?
Good. The whole office is sick. Angie's super sick. Dom's out of the office. I'm just getting over it too, but we're pushing through though.
Vitamin C, brother. Vitamin C.
Vitamin C. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that RSV stuff that's going around.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's happening.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully I can get Donda on here.
Yeah, I think she just joined. I saw her somewhere. Cool. Well, we got a lot more people joining. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. So yeah, this Tuesday Zoom that we do. It's just a general Q&A. If you guys have any leads you're working on, if you guys want us to call sellers, underwrite a deal, anything like that, Donda's here. What's up, Donda? I was just talking to Jim. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and raise your hand as well too, or post them in the chat. I did have Justin Cruz had a question, so we'll start with him. But yeah, any of you guys have anything, raise your hands and we'll get to you, or post it in the chat. Cool. So what do you got, Justin? Oh, I think you muted, brother. Let me unmute you, man.
My bad.
I got you.
My bad.
No,
Can
you're
you-
good. No, I can. Yeah.
So this one I heard about. Actually, I'm on a real estate team at our brokerage, and our team leader is she sent 2 properties to me that she can't sell that have been sitting. And I work with mainly investors locally. I like doing investor work way more than I like holding open houses and normal agent stuff. I hate
Yeah.
it, frankly.
Yeah.
So I mainly work with investors, and I've kind of these last few months become kind of the go-to guy for most agents that don't want to deal with it. But this is my team lead. She knows about sub 2 and pace and everything that we do. She's kind of apprehensive about it and puts up a wall with me with it though.
Yeah.
Because I was asking her, because they're both, one of them is an FHA, the other's a VA loan.
Okay.
And they're both assumable. They're at 3.8 and 4%. And the one payment I found on PropStream was $1,300 a month. Both houses are in good neighborhoods here. One has a pretty strict HOA, so that one's not quite as interesting as the other one. These are both here in Vegas.
Okay.
And both of them are, at least what she said, that they're her listings. Both sellers are open to letting them be assumed whatever. That doesn't really sound like she's talked to them all about terms or anything like that. Of course, they just want out. Why I feel like these ones will work is neither one of them are buying another property. So
Okay, good.
It's one hurdle right there. Because I was telling her, like, I know of a way that we can get it through a debt servicing company. After 3 payments, it'll drop off their DTI. 75% will drop off DTI.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, no, they won't be interested in any of that. Only traditional means of, assuming the loan.
Right.
And so with that, one of my investors, he's not a sub 2 student, but he's in Ryan Pineda's Future Flipper program. Out of all my investors, he's by far the most knowledgeable with running comps, with submitting offers. We have an online portal on our brokerage website where he can fill out like a Google Docs sheet with the terms of the offer. It sends it to my assistants. They draft it. They send it to me to review, and it goes.
Nice.
This
Okay.
last week, we've been doing 5 to 10 a day, just me and him. He is very interested in it. I just have to figure out how to piece this together. It's a little more difficult in a way because it's my mentor's listing. So she doesn't really want to listen to me. You know,
right.
what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
She doesn't really want to entertain things that aren't traditional, but she knows about them. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't really know why, and I don't know kind of where I should go next. I talked with another sub two student that I know here locally earlier this morning. And he was talking about JVing on it, but bringing a fourth person into it, that would be me, my investor, her, and him. I don't know if there would be enough meat on the bone or how we would really even do that.
Yeah.
I
Makes
was
sense.
just wanting to see if you guys had any ideas on it. My investor client would buy it as a buy and hold, just a long-term rental.
Okay.
And especially the one at the 3.8% interest rate is the one that's in the better neighborhood too. And the house really doesn't need anything. Like, it's ready right now to be rented.
Okay.
He's very, very interested in it. I just have to figure out these couple pieces of how to make this work.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Like I said,
Okay.
I'll join sub two tomorrow if that will help me get it, because I'll
Yeah.
get money right back. You know what I mean? If I can close this.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and the reason why any sub two student is going to want to joint venture with you is because the NDA we signed with Pace, we just can't share those contracts unless
For
we're
sure.
joint venturing. So I would say first and foremost, yeah, like joining sub two would, like, you'd get access to those contracts and all of the
You
community.
get them right away.
Yeah, you get them right
Okay.
away. So I would say, man, like, especially, it does cost whatever, like $8,000-10,000,
Yeah.
something like that. So, you probably break
But, I
even
mean,
or so by.
Yeah, and that's I mean, it's literally kind of the perfect scenario to where, like, if I do this and I can close it, like, that's irrelevant. And now I have now I'm in the program.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say, man, that's your best bet, because
Okay.
not only do you get those contracts, you get access to the Facebook groups too. So if
Yep.
let's say your buyer that you work with, maybe he's capped out, you have buyers at your
Right.
fingertips in that sub two group. And then you also have access to all of the Zooms, live seller calls. All of that alone is worth the
Okay.
mentorship, in my opinion. So I would say do that. But I'd love to help you just kind of figure it out without having to JV, just for
And so
teaching purposes.
and my investor being in the future flipper program, he sent me, they have a sub two, let's see, they have a sub two and seller finance contract, but I don't know what it is. And, like, I mean, obviously there's some on the internet. I found one here from like 2019, but I have no idea if, like, this is going to put me in a weird spot, or I guess what would be the caution with using one that's not Paces?
I just, that's kind of outside of my realm of expertise. I would say, definitely you want to make sure that it covers every, like, Paces. So his creative finance purchase contract, that's just the PSA in itself, and that can cover seller finance subject to, but the subject to addendum is really what you want. And that just that in itself is going to, and this is a better question for an attorney, obviously, too, but it's going to cover you in case, a due on sale clause gets pulled. It's going to cover the seller in that event. As far as, like, why would you use Paces over one you found on the internet? That's a tough question to kind of answer. I'm sure any subject to addendum, right? People have been buying properties subject to before Pace came along, right? So, I'd say you're probably pretty good with using any contract that you find. If you guys have an attorney on retainer, maybe having them read over it and see kind of what their thoughts are on it.
I could probably get, like, our brokerage has, like, a team of lawyers. I could probably get one of them to look it over.
Yeah, I would say that would be your best bet, man. Have an attorney put their eyes on it for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think what else I had. I think it's probably.
Do they have equity in the deal, or is it kind of?
I haven't. I honestly haven't looked at it yet. He pulled like the mortgage history data and all of that on it. I believe they've lived there for 4 to 5 years from what she said. I just heard of this deal like late last night, and I've just been, like, racking my head trying to figure out how to get this to work today.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be for me, it'd be for him.
Right. But you'd still get paid though, too.
For sure.
So you want to make it work.
And he's an investor I want to keep. And if we can figure out how to do this, he he understands what we do, and that like, I don't want you to buy this traditional and assume their mortgage. I don't want you to do that, because now you're going to be tied up after your second house. And then what? Now my business relationship with you is kind of done. You know,
Right.
I can get him to get this one subject to, there's no reason that we wouldn't keep going with this, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So you just really want to know how much equity they have, because let's say
Okay.
they have 50,000 in equity. You
Yeah.
could give them that all up front, or give them a portion of it and structure a seller finance as a second position. So you pay monthly payments to them as well. And that's what Gabrielle is talking in the chat. That's a hybrid. So it's a seller finance and subject to. If they bought it 4 years ago, it's likely they do have a little bit of equity in there. For your investor to pay them out their entire equity probably won't make sense from a cash on cash return.
Yeah.
But if they take a portion of it just to be done, and then, you know, structure monthly payments with them and maybe balloon in 7 years, that might make sense for everyone involved. But yeah, kind of tough without knowing, like, you know, any details about it. But yeah, as long as your cash on cash return is around 12% or above, then it should be a pretty good deal.
And I think with as low as the payment is, your average rents in that area. So the payment's 1,300. Your average rents in that area are 22 to 26. So depending on that difference would tell us if it's a deal or not with their equity.
Right. Yeah. And you're also definitely want to see a mortgage statement, because PropStream is definitely off sometimes.
And that's what we've been using as prop.
Yeah. And that number that it's telling you is just PI. It's not taxes and insurance as well too.
Okay.
So you got to account for that as well. So for example, right, let's say you got $2,200 a month in rent. I'm gonna take percent off that immediately to account for maintenance, management, capital expenditures.
Yep.
So really it's $1,800. Okay.
Yep.
So if your payment to his mortgage every month is $1,500, he's netting around $370 a month. Annualized, that's $4,400. So for him to be around a 12% cash on cash, he's going to want to be all in, like everything around 40,000.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So somewhere around that. Obviously, if you can get a higher rent, if you can do traveling nurses, something along those lines, and increase his rent, then he can afford to pay more.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate your time.
Cool. Yeah, no worries, bro. And I'm going to post my number too here in the chat for you and anyone else. Like, if you have any questions or you just need a little bit more help, shoot me a text or give me a call. I'll help you out, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Justin. Awesome. That's a good one. Right on. So yeah, thank you guys for showing up. We still have some people joining in as well too. This Zoom is just a general Q&A. We don't really have anything planned. So if you guys have a deal you're working on, you have a question about creative finance or wholesaling, or how to compare a property, calling agents, anything like that, you can raise your hand, shoot it in the chat, anything like that. See Armando's in here. What's up, Armando? Thanks for showing up, brother. Let's see. Okay. No worries, Linda. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Cool. So I guess no one really has any questions. One thing I like to do a lot is just kind of go over underwriting. It seems like that's where a lot of people get. Oh, Jessica. Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries. No, that's the point of it.
Basically, I'm just looking for some advice. So I got myself into kind of a situation.
Okay, no worries.
Earlier this year, I bought a house. I was gonna burr it, right? So I bought it. I did the full renovation, you know, the whole 9 yards. rented it out, had it stabilized. I went to do my refinance, and the lender came back and was like, yeah, everything's great, but you need 14,000 in closing costs. And I'm like, I really don't want to tie up all my capital on this one house,
Mhm.
So like, what would you do? What would you do? I do have a
Yeah.
renter in it now, but I'm at the point where I'm just like, I don't want to put any more money into it. I want to move on to the next,
Right, right. And they want that 14,000 up front, huh? They wouldn't tack that on to the refi?
Yeah, they want it at closing.
Hmm. And that's interesting. So, and then that's all your money too. Are you cash flowing?
Yeah, it's cash flowing. I set it up as a midterm. So
Okay.
it's actually doing really well if I don't account for some of the, credit cards I had to go into because of unexpected costs.
Right, I'm sure. Yeah. My thought there would be maybe a private money lender.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could just give them their your cash flow until they're paid back.
Right.
That is an option, right? So at least you're breaking even. You got the money up front. I mean, another one would be a no interest credit card. It sounds like you've probably thought about that.
Yeah.
Um, so not you would want a private money lender. The only thing with private money lenders is they want to know how they're secured. Also, they're going to want typically like 10% to upwards of 20%. And then they're going to want their money back pretty shortly as well too.
Right.
So that's the only other issue. Have you talked with any other lenders by chance?
Yeah, I've been kind of like feeling my way around. I have a couple options. It's just right now I'm like at the point, do I want to hold this thing, or do I want to just like be free of it, And I can't do creative, and I would, because it's a hard money loan. So it's like due in April, so I've got to
Yeah.
figure out what to do.
Yeah, you have to refinance. Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. I would say maybe a private money lender is a good avenue for you, or if you can get some type of line of credit, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's interesting. They're making you come with those closing costs at the table. Is there just not enough equity
Well, see,
in the
that's the
deal
thing.
yet?
I'm at 62%. So that's why I'm
Right,
like, what? Like that makes no sense to me.
right, right. Yeah, I guess maybe just banks are being more cautious. So when you
Mm-hmm.
refinance, obviously you're going to be around 8%. Do you
Yeah.
think you'll still cash flow even at that high of an interest rate?
Yeah, so at the 8%, I think my rate that they locked for me was 8.15 or something.
Okay,
And yeah, it is still cash flowing, thankfully.
well, that's the good part. Yeah, at least you're still
Yeah.
cash flowing. Yeah, I mean, if you have that money, those are really, I would say, as far as I can think of, your only options is to try to find a private money lender, and then you pay them back with the cash flow. Um,
Okay.
that's the thing about private money, right? Is it's not it's not a one standard template, right? Like
Right.
every private money lender is going to want something different. So they might want just 10% back on their money. When you pay it off, they're good. Other people might want just 10% interest only until you can actually afford to pay them back one lump sum. So reaching out to a few private money lenders, trying to get a line of credit, or just paying it off yourself, and just biting that bullet,
Okay.
um, and then maybe paying yourself back like a private money lender, instead of calculating or taking all that money out for maintenance or management, just trying to build back up your reserves as soon as possible. Obviously that would, if you're only making a couple $100 a month, right, it's going to take you a while to build that back up. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I could think. Linda posted a link in the chat, realdirectlending.com. She says they're a private money lender. I've never heard of them, but that might be a good thing for you to check out as well too. I would also maybe post in the creative Facebook group with Pace Morby,
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, I have a burr, I'm cash flowing, looking for a private money lender. Maybe calculate and see, if you borrowed 15,000, how much could you pay back every month?
Okay.
And post that. So yeah, I would say those are your best options, really.
Sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no worries. Yeah, I wish I could help more.
No, no worries.
And I forgot to go live on Facebook. Let me do that real quick. Okay. And I also need to, oh, I don't know if Angie's here. Angie, I can't record. Or no, I'm already recording, that's why. Cool, okay. So I just see Anne. Is it Anne? REI?
Yes. Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
how's it going? Good.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, so my question is in regards to interest rates. On our last Zoom, you
Okay.
answered the question. You did some underwriting on a deal. It was based on hypothetical numbers.
Okay.
And with a 1% interest rate term to deal with cash flow, and it would make sense. And
Yeah.
then you did another one with a 3% where it would not make sense. And
Yeah,
I
I think
was
I remember that one.
wondering, does it make sense to, and when does it make sense to like calculate the difference of the 2% and say, hey, I'm giving you, let's say the difference of the 2% would be $30,000. Let's just say hypothetically, to put that onto the purchase price and say, take 1% and I'll give you the 2% as a $30,000 flat fee on the purchase price. When does it make sense to give the seller that option?
Yeah, that's a great question. It actually makes sense to do that first. If that's ever an option, I would always do that. And essentially, I'll kind of reiterate your question too for people. So, instead of us adding an interest rate, let's say 3%, that's amortized over 30 years, that's going to turn out to be, whatever, $100,000, $200,000 over a 30-year period. So Anne's asking, why don't we just take, let's say for a house that's $400,000, why don't we just add 3% to the top of it? So that's an extra $12,000, right? That makes way more sense because 3% amortized over 30 years is going to be, like I said, $100,000 or something. So, and that's why with seller finance, we can always offer a higher purchase price or their asking price, whatever they're asking. Pace always uses this as an example too. Like if I had a home that was only worth $100,000 and I was going to sell it to you for $1 million, you would say no way, right? But on terms, if I said, okay, I'm going to sell you this home for $1 million, but I want nothing down, and I'm going to structure your payments to where it's over 100-year term, let's say, and your monthly payment to me is only $100 or whatever, right? If your plan is to hold that property for as long as you possibly can, then that's a great deal because you're going to be making so much money on your cash flow. Who cares what the purchase price is? So anytime you can increase that purchase price with a lower interest rate, always do it. Thanks, Linda. Thank you for being here. I don't know if you're still here. The only time where it doesn't make sense, and you could probably understand why, is if they want a balloon. And it still makes sense as long as you're not way overpaying for the property, right? So let's say, a home is only worth 400,000, but you offer them 500,000 because they gave you some really favorable terms. But they want a 5-year balloon, right? So in 5 years, that property, you maybe paid down the principal a little bit, but let's say in that balloon, you have to refinance or sell the property. Whatever you do, you have to pay that person off. If the property doesn't appraise, now you're in a tough situation because you can't sell the property, you can't refinance the property. So that's the only scenario where overpaying for the home can get a little dangerous, is if they want a balloon payment. But if they're willing to carry it for 30 years, then it makes sense.
Okay, and if they want a 5-year balloon, you typically want to go 10 to 15, right? If they want a 5-year balloon, should you definitely always take the extension clause?
Yeah, if you can at any time, yeah. And then we always do typically at least a 7-year balloon. Ideally it's 10 years. But if they're pretty hard stuck on 5 years, then yeah, we always say, we don't know what the future holds in case we can't refinance this property or it doesn't appraise for more than what we owe, for example, then we're gonna add a 2-year
Mhm.
extension option. So yeah, great point. Yeah, always try to get your balloon extended no matter what.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. No, that's a great question. Thank you so much, Anne. Um, okay, Armando, I see your question in the chat, bro. If you could raise your hand, I just don't want to skip anyone. I know Jordan's patiently waiting. He's got his hand up. So what do you got for us, Jordan?
Awesome. Hey, I'm super duper excited, man, to be in the room with you guys. You guys are killers. So, I just want to give you your flowers, but
Thanks, bro.
I'm new. I'm in the Elephant Challenge. Obviously I read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was younger, right? And
Yeah.
so it messed me up for normal life. But I'm super excited. And so for me, I'm in school, and I just wanted to let that be known. As you're going through things, like I'm writing notes, just making sure that I'm applying. My question is, so obviously I'm understanding how to comp. I have privy. I understand, the process and the fact that in the beginning, I'm going to be a wholesaler, bird dog type of thing. Buy and
Mhm.
hold is not necessarily going to be a good strategy going into 2023 and beyond until things look a little bit better from a nationwide standpoint. So for me, as a young kid, knowing that I want to buy and hold and do wholesaling, I'm in school, like I said, and so I'm doing the 5 to 10, 5 to 11 approach. How do I go in and talk to buyers and do the things that need to be done, 5 to 10 weekdays, and then obviously all day weekends? How do I kind of, because I work in like fast food, going to school, doing real estate, calling and saying I'm a real estate investor could be true and whatever the case is. But until I get my first deal and get some credibility, what are some quick tips that you would say to kind of like, hey, this is how you should kind of go about things and things of that nature? Obviously, JVing is huge, but I just want to hear you speak,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. And I'm sure a lot of people in here can resonate with that, even if they're not young and in school. A lot of people just want to quit their 9 to 5, right? Like, we have people in here that are probably in their 30s and 40s and are in the same boat, just getting started in real estate because they see the power in it, right? Like I saw it too when I was 18 years old. I saw my parents working every day, coming home, and they would just sit there, watch TV, wake up and do it again. I was like, that sucks, man. I don't want to do that. I want to do the things I love and have the money to go on trips and do all of that, bro. So that's a great question. I would say you kind of answered your own question. JVs is your best option, man. Like for me, when I started, it's such a huge task. Like you're looking up at this giant mountain, like, man, how am I gonna call sellers? How am I gonna start bringing in $10,000 in revenue every month so I can quit my job, right? Like you need a team behind you, man. There's me, Joey, Angie, and Dominic, all four of us in the office, and there's too much work for even us, right? Like it's a lot of stuff. Like we have leads coming in, but we also have buyers calling us. We have Zooms that we do. It's a lot of stuff. So trying to get on a team, surround yourself with like-minded people, is going to be your best bet, right? So that's kind of the point of the elephant challenge is if you're actively making calls and you're kind of finding some leads and you're not too sure now what the next step is, that's what we're here for, bro. Like, you may not have enough time to, once you get a deal under contract, to just focus on finding a buyer. Like a lot of people think once you find a deal, you're done and you get a contract signed. That's half the work, man. Finding that buyer is almost just as tough, if not tougher, than getting that contract signed. So I would just say, yeah, man, joint ventures, finding like-minded people, and working with a team is really how you're going to get a business off the ground. Nobody's successful by themselves. Pace always says that. So that's a great question, man. Yeah, and that's what I would say. Just JV, work with us. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I know he always says that we're a social creature, man. I love when he
Yeah.
says that. But yeah, that's huge. I forgot what I was gonna say, but like I said, man, I really appreciate it. It lets me know that I have my head in the right place. So again, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm gonna be learning a lot on the call. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you, bro. Where are you from at, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm actually in Florida.
Florida? Nice.
Like 2 hours above Miami. Tampa market right now, but obviously I want to get into Orlando and Miami, so I'm excited.
Nice, man. Yeah. We're doing a lot of stuff in Florida too. So you come across any deals, let us know, man. We'll help you out for sure.
Definitely, Dylan. I'll let you guys know.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Jordan. Right on. I don't know if it's Don or if it's Jim. I think this is Jim. I don't know. Whoever got their hand up next. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to skip them.
Hello?
There you are. Hey, what's up, Donda?
Hi, it's me. I know we put on each other's. I was like, honey, you're anyhow.
I know, yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, I just, I'm filling out those forms and sending them in, and I want to be sure to get as much on there so you guys aren't having to do as much work. But I think on the comps, there's a box we're supposed to drag the comps. But when you're on like Privy and Zoom, Zillow, how are you making those comps to drag over there before? I'm just kind of wondering how to do that.
Yeah,
on those sites.
So in this, so I actually have yours in front of me right here too. So like when you're posting comps, like you're asking kind of how do you drag them in there?
Yeah, typically I would just make like a PDF or something and drag them over there, right? But how are you getting them off of the site to drag them over?
Yeah, you could just post the addresses too. That works.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's programmed like that, but yeah, if you could just type the addresses, that's fine too. And then really if it's a cash deal and it's like a fix and flip, then I would say getting comps is good. But if it's something that's creative, I wouldn't worry too much about the comps. We can kind of go over that later, but yeah, we just don't want you to get stuck in kind of like analysis paralysis right away. So yeah, anytime, unless it's cash, then obviously we want to know comps, right? Would it be all fixed up? So, but if it's something creative, then comps aren't necessarily the most important part.
Okay, sounds good.
Right on. All right, thank you, Donna. Good to see you.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Wanted to let me shout out Ray Vieira's in here. He's a sub-2 student and a mastermind student out here too. If you guys have any questions too, he's in Colorado as well. He's out of the Springs, but he's just as knowledgeable as us too. So if you guys are looking to squat up with anyone else, hit up Ray Vieira as well too. I lost him. I don't know where he went, but he's in here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Yeah. What's up, Ray? How are you doing, bro? Got him. He's doing good. Right on. Okay, so I got Luis is my next one. Luis, what do you got for us, bro?
Hey, how's it going, Dylan? How you doing?
Good. How are you? Good, man. Thank you.
Hey, so I came across something really interesting. So there's this a seller finance opportunity that was dropped in my lap this week, and I wanted to talk to you about it. So the terms are, he wants about $425,000. He wants 25% down. He wants 5 to 6% interest rate in a 1-year balloon. And right away, I'm thinking there's no way that that's going to work.
Yep. That's a good assumption, man. Yeah.
I was like, dang, like, why does he want so much? And so, we scheduled a phone call earlier today, and he was just like, I want this much because I'm trying to get it out of this other house to another one. And I said, well, I don't think I'm your buyer. And he was like, well, shoot me an offer that you think would be awesome. And I was like, I don't want to waste my time with an offer that you're not even going to look at. And
Right.
he said, well, I need to get this house sold as soon as possible. And I said, okay, well, let me see what I can do. So I thought
Right.
I'd chat with you guys, see what y'all
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So, and this is without me like looking at anything. The first thing the first point I would raise is that 1-year balloon. There's no point, right? Probably in 1 year, I doubt interest rates are going to be favorable. So immediately, like he wants 25% down. The 5% interest rate is okay. I mean, it's not great. It's better than what I could get at a bank. But with a 1-year balloon, I'm going to have to refinance probably into an 8, 9, 10% interest rate anyways. So automatically, we like we were talking about earlier, your balloon, you're going to want it at a minimum probably 7 years for it to make sense. And then your down payment, like it depends on how much you could rent it for. Do you know what your exit strategy would be? Would you Airbnb, rent it? What do you think?
Well, that's the thing is like, even if you do Airbnb, it wouldn't even cash flow at that rate. It would be like 200, like $150 a month at the most. And I'm like, that's not going to cover what I needed to cover. And then market rates here for that type of house is only $2,400. So
Okay. So 2,400.
Yeah, at that price, that payment, it would be negative cash flow.
Yeah. That's one thing I like to do too. And just because, I kind of have the benefit of knowing these things ahead of time, but whenever I'm on the phone with a seller that's like, well, here's what I want, right? And I'm like, okay, let me put you on pause there while I put that into my calculator. Oh yeah, it looks like I'm gonna lose money. And then I just let it sit there, right? And they're like, okay, well, how about this? I'm like, okay, let me type it in. Still losing money, man, right? And then it's really how desperate, right? Like if he wants to sell this house, then I'll give you your price, but I want my terms. Or like take this low cash offer for 50% what it's worth, and then we can do a deal. But as an investor, man, like you're just going to come across these guys all the time. Like I even have agents that are telling me, well, it's such a good location, like you could fix it up and raise rents, like, and I'm like, well, then maybe someone else would buy it, but it's not a good deal for me. Like, they're trying to convince me while I'm on the phone to buy their house, and it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I wouldn't waste too much time with them. Maybe say, I'm going to be closer to 10% down, 2% interest with a 7-year balloon. See what he says.
Okay. Sweet.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Just try to push it more in your favor. See what he says, and then if he's like, that doesn't make sense, say, well, maybe you'll find another sucker, but it's not going to be me. So
definitely.
Right on, man. If you have any more questions on that, or you need any more help on the underwriting, I think you were here last week. We did our Zoom on underwriting. So go and check that one out again, and so you can kind of see the numbers on it and see what makes sense. But yeah, Ray says just send an LOI, 10% down, 2% interest, 7-year balloon, and then I just keep in touch with him, because if he's not going to sell it, he'll keep coming back to you, and who knows, he might take that offer. You never know. So
yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Guys.
Right on. Good question, Luis. Thanks, bro.
Thanks.
All right. Next one, Carlos. What do you got for me, man? Are you there, brother? I see you.
Mute here. There we go. Can you hear me?
I gotcha. Yep, I gotcha.
All right. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. I have two questions. One of them is, so I've been doing, I guess, agent outreach and just pitching more terms. The thing, for instance, this agent that I have, I explained to her about the sub two, what I want to do. But the thing is, her taking that information to the seller,
Mhm.
which is she don't want to do a lot of legwork, and just pretty much wants to get paid. I understand that. Is the letter of intent, which one of the students here helped me out with that. Is that my best bet with the agents?
Sending a
Trying to
letter of
do this?
intent. Yeah. So, and I already kind of know your question, right? Like anytime you present a subject to, even if it's a seller finance or if it's a hybrid, right, where it kind of gets complicated, it's kind of like playing a game of telephone. That agent's going to go back to her client and not
Okay,
explain it as well as you did, right?
correct.
So if you can send a letter of intent that spells out, okay, here's my purchase price, here's my down payment to the seller, here's the subject to mortgage, and then I'll put in there like conventional Chase Bank remaining
Okay,
balance. Here's your payments that I'll take, and I'll put it in there a parentheses approximate, right? Unless you know
okay,
exactly what it is.
okay,
And then I'll put in there, this is just if it's a hybrid too. So then I'll put in seller carry back. Here's the
okay,
amount, here's the term, here's the monthly installments. And then I'll also put buyer to pay agent commissions and closing costs as well in that letter of intent. And
okay,
just so they can literally see it right in front of them, and
okay,
it's a little bit more clear. So yeah, that's what I
okay.
would do.
That makes sense. Now, for instance, she says she was going to go to the seller's attorney and whatnot to try to explain this to them. Um, should I be doing that instead of her? I mean, trying to explain something, and I guess doing
So
something she's not, or saying something she's not supposed to.
right, so sorry, I missed the first part of that. She's going to go to the seller and explain it.
To the seller's attorney
Okay.
of what the email said. So she was going to
Okay,
go back to them and try to explain to them, well, yeah, what I wanted to do.
gotcha. I would ask, is he a real estate attorney?
Uh-huh.
Because that's going to be important too. Most
Okay.
attorneys are going to probably just shoot it down. I would say, because they have no idea what it is. They're going to say that sounds sketchy. I wouldn't let
Okay.
someone take over your debt. That because an attorney is just looking out for their client's best interest, right? And
Got it.
from a legal standpoint, so they think whether they understand it or not, most of them
Okay.
probably don't, and they're going to say it's a no go. So if you can talk to their attorney, then that's good. But I would also say, either way, see what the attorney says. That's kind of an objection you can't necessarily overcome. They're going to go with what their lawyer says, right? So, but I would always explain, there is risk associated with subject to. Pace always says this too. As a
Correct.
seller, there's always a risk, and what we can provide is a security. It's not a surefire thing that the note doesn't get called to. I may get abducted by aliens. You never know what could happen.
Correct.
But we put securities in place that covers that seller in case anything does happen. And at the most it becomes a headache, but not necessarily an issue. So yeah, I would just it's mostly a credibility thing, man. I would say, like if you can provide a proof of funds, the credibility letter that Pace gives us when we join sub
Okay.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, so credibility is definitely on your side. I would say try to shoot for that.
Yeah, that was, I guess, my next step is pretty much using that credibility video that he has and everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
proof of funds I did give her and whatnot. So yeah, just waiting on her. So another question.
yeah.
I've done Gator wrestling, but I never really deal with the Gator contract and whatnot. So it's just pretty much bring the finance to the table and walk away pretty much. But I came up to a EMD that is needed for 5K. So I mean, usually what I see is that there's a property as collateral for whatever funds. Obviously, here is only 5K. So it's just getting the contract signed from the title company and having a 7-day inspection period for me that would give me the security.
Yeah. So are you doing the gator lending?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And on this one, yes.
okay. So and you're going to be loaning 5,000 for earnest money?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So you know, I am a gator lender. I've gone through some of the trainings, not all of them. I've kind of put it on the back burner, to be honest.
Okay.
So I may not be the best person to answer that question, but yeah, there's definitely, you know, you want to make sure you have all the correct paperwork in place before you wire any money, right? Because you want to know for a fact that if the deal falls through, you can get your money back. A lot of
Correct.
people have unfortunately, you know, kind of gotten burned with it too. I want to say I saw someone in here that has a gator lender in their bio. I can't see him anymore, but yeah,
Okay.
dude, also maybe like if you think it's a really good deal, I would JV with someone that has done gator lending in the past, so that
Okay.
way maybe you guys split the portion, like, you know, or just say, hey man, would you mind walking me through this? You know, I have the money, I can do everything. I just want to kind of make sure I'm doing everything right. And if it all goes through, like, here, I'll throw you whatever, $500 or something,
Okay.
whatever is worth their time. But yeah, I would try to JV with another gator lender, and just so that way they can show you who, you know, how it's supposed to be done. Cause I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure. I know there is the right documents you want to have signed. Or just your other option is to rewatch all those videos and make sure, you know, you're
Got it.
doing everything right.
Okay. All right.
Carlos,
Well,
before anything, you want to make sure it's a good deal before
Right.
you even get to the contracts, and just make sure it's actually a good deal, because you don't want to loan on something where you know this wholesaler's not going to find a buyer, or it's honestly
well,
a crappy
that's the
deal.
thing. He does have a buyer in place, and this one's only for 2 to 3 weeks at the most. So
Nice.
I spoke with the buyer and everything. So all they need is an inspection period. She said it was going to happen within the 2 to 7 day period here. So it sounds good and everything, but I just wanted to make sure I understood this a little bit more, because it's different when you gather the funds and just they take care of everything else, and all you do is just get paid in the back, you know,
Right.
compared to you lending the money and now your money's the one that's out there, you know. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely sketchy. I would say, yeah, and that's a good point Joey brings up too. Make sure you know that it's a good deal. If they have a buyer already lined up, that is definitely a good thing, but it kind of also maybe raises a red flag for me. If they have a buyer lined up, typically once you wholesale a deal, right, your buyer brings in more earnest
The
money too.
EMD, yes, yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
yes.
why isn't that buyer putting their earnest money in, right? They don't know if it's a good deal yet either too. So
Correct. Yes.
um
So that's why I wanted to get the correct documents. So like this, there's inspection period. I'll have time to either cancel the contract or get my money back.
exactly.
So yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And usually and as far as I know too, what you have signed is you have this pre-signed by the seller, this actual seller, because they're the
Correct.
one that can hold that earnest money or not.
Yes.
It's a mutual release, right, of the earnest money if we back out in our inspection period, right? You want that signed, because some states, even though you back out in your inspection period, some states it's still up to that seller whether or not they want to give that money
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah.
yeah, JV with another gator lender that's experienced it, or just make sure you're up to date on all those videos and have all your proper paperwork in place first.
Got it. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you very
Cool.
much. Have a
Right
good one.
on. Thanks,
Yes,
Carlos.
sir.
Good question, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, let me see. I'm not make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Okay. Looks like we're good. All right. What's up, Jamal? How you doing, bro? I was just talking to you earlier, right?
Yeah. I appreciate you taking the time.
Right on.
Let me see if I can. You said I can share my video at least. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate everything that you're doing. Appreciate you taking the time to even answer my question. I really,
Yeah, of
really
course, bro.
appreciate that. I'm actually talking of, I think I may have texted you also about a second property that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And that person actually, they're ready to go. They're chomping at the bit. They really want to do this. And even the seller is on board. But I guess they had a conversation with, I guess, their the lender, and they said they couldn't do it. So I'm just trying to figure out what, like how we go forward with, I guess, with that particular objection.
Yeah. So, and is that one kind of what's the details? Is it a subject to?
It's going to be a hybrid, I think.
A hybrid.
Likely.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of equity, if that makes
Okay.
sense as well. So
Is it a VA or FHA?
It's a VA, I believe. Yeah.
VA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can
So
check real quick. Hold on. I
Yeah.
want to double check. Yeah, it's a VA.
VA. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a VA.
yeah, man, that's we're gonna want to jump on the phone with Joseph and kind of let him know, have him just essentially give that seller a second option to see what they could do, because we're doing this right now on a deal in Arizona. I think I was telling you, where the lender, her new lender, really she's contingent. She already is under contract on her new home. Once she sells this one, then she gets a brand new loan, and I think it's FHA or conventional, but her lender understands subject to, and was like, we can make it work, but it's very difficult. It is a hard thing to do. So what she had us do was say, hey, just sign a 12-month lease, and our underwriters will use that and take that into consideration, that she is no longer responsible for those payments. So once she closes on her new house, then we will close on her home. Does that make sense? So essentially, we're just signing a lease option, and then we execute that option once she closes.
So do you execute the option in like seller finance, or is that a cash out? How is that from
Yep.
understanding it?
Yeah, so it's a subject to, or a hybrid option. Yeah, so essentially you just have the option. It's an executory contract. So, and there's also other ways to get around it too, but yeah, I would say let's call Joseph and see if he can give her a second opinion. It also depends on her entitlement as well too, what the VA says she can qualify for, but yeah, it's just that lender is unaware, or he's not educated.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really it, man. Because if he wants to get paid, right, like for him, his job is way easier if she closes that home traditionally, gets rid of that loan. But you know, a lot of lenders and agents are going to have to get a lot more creative with this ever-changing market. So yeah, I would say let's get her a second opinion from Joseph and see what he tells us.
I guess what I can do is maybe schedule like a 3-way with her and Joseph, and and going from there. Like I said before, I think I had the conversation with her. She said, yeah, people have been doing this since the 80s. I don't see why it's an issue. I'm like, I told her, like, I think it's just maybe the person you spoke to didn't really understand what was going on. So yeah, I would definitely try to get like you said, Joseph on the phone and do a 3-way and try to educate the seller. You know, the agent that we have on. So
yeah.
And I also have another question. I'm sorry, did you want to add something else? Is it surprising I actually made a connection for somebody in like another property in that's not even in Colorado, it's actually in San Bernardino, and the person's willing to sell their carry. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly who I should connect with to see if we can put something together there. Do you have any recommendations of anybody I can talk to?
Is that California?
Yeah, right next to LA.
And so what are you're trying to look for a buyer, or?
No, I'm trying to look for another person I can possibly JV with, another sub person that's sub to student I can JV with that's in LA.
that's kind of your boots on the ground. I
Yeah.
do have one person off the top of my mind. She's actually an agent in Hollywood, LA, right, Joey? Amy?
Yeah, no, Jamal, we can help you with that one because we have boots on the ground everywhere.
Okay, cool. Let's
So,
do it then.
yeah.
Yeah.
She sent me the pictures today. I was letting her know, let me look at the pictures. It does need some work, but the owner said it will. I mean, the homeowner said he would do seller carry. So
Okay, nice. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like Joey said, I mean, we can help you with that too. And if we need someone to go out there, take pictures, do whatever, we can.
I got
we
pictures.
have
I can
people
send
out
you the
there.
pictures. I got the pictures.
Okay, nice,
Got the
man. Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah. We'll help you with that one for sure, bro.
Cool. All right, let's do it.
All right. Right on, man. And then, yeah, for that last one, I would say like you can do a 3-way call with the seller and Joseph, or just, give Joseph a heads up, kind of explain to him the situation, and then maybe just have him give the seller or the agent a call and then go from there. So either way.
Okay. Yeah.
Jamal, does the seller need your down payment to get into their next home? Or are they using that money?
Which property though? I'm in
The one
LA,
you're
or the
talking
one
about with the VA loan.
So the backstory with that one is that that person purchased that home because they were trying to get custody of their children, and it didn't go through. So he just sit in the big house by himself. He doesn't want anymore. And from what she told me, I'll double check tomorrow when I reach out to her, that he's not really looking to even buy another house. He just wants to rent, maybe somewhere and rent. So I think we're good there from that standpoint. It's just getting the right person in their ear to let them know that what we're doing isn't illegal. It's everything's above board. I did reach out to
Sometimes all it takes is a third party, like
yeah,
me or Dylan, or somebody just calling and saying, "Hey, I'm the one who writes the checks for all our properties, and we just go through our credibility." And sometimes that works. Even getting on the 3-way with the seller, and just explaining to them what we do will probably help go along.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Let's make it happen, man. Because definitely I got two, actually we have three. I mean, three I'm looking at right now. I mean, I've talked to Dylan about the first one. And she's ready for that one too. So she's ready. I mean, I got a couple people that's ready to go. So
hell yeah. All right. Sounds good, Jamal. Yeah,
perfect.
let's do it, man. Yeah,
right.
we'll chat tomorrow then, or after this, but either way,
whatever.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. I'm here, man. So let's do it.
Cool.
So.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Justin, you got another question, bro?
Yeah, so I found out some more info on that one that we started with.
Yeah.
It looks like that they pulled out a HELOC at some point on it.
Ooh,
I guess
okay.
my main question is that balance is going to come due at closing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. HELOCs are tough. Yeah. They're going to want that money.
From what I know so far, that probably just killed the deal because it's like a $67,000 balance.
Yeah.
I mean, $500,000 house, that's not a good deal, no matter how good the terms are.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Maybe, just maybe, if that's the only money out of pocket is paying that off. But
and that's what me and my client were just talking about. Like, I was like, best case, you bring like 67 to the table, but in my opinion, that's not really a deal unless you really, really want this one for some reason.
Exactly. Yeah, because then like again, you're going to want to make around $6,700 a year to justify that. Like even then, that's still only 10%, right? It's not an amazing deal.
Yeah. I just found that. I pulled it back up on prop, and there's two mortgages on it, and one of them was just done like last year. I mean, they actually have a lot more equity in it than I thought. They have like 250 in equity in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you never know, it could still work, right? Like maybe they just have that money or they could pay it off. But yeah, typically HELOCs are gonna kill the deal.
In my mind, that's probably why they're not trying to buy another house. They just want those two paid off, and that's probably the pain point right there.
Yep. You're exactly right. Yeah, they just don't want to continue to make those payments. It's probably eating them up every month. So
yep.
Damn it, that's a tough one. Yeah, that sucks, man. Yeah, maybe
like
they'll
in
take
those
a low
cases, unless it's like a really low, unless if they owed 10 grand on it, okay, or 15, yeah, but like any significant amount on a HELOC is not really a deal, right?
Yeah, Yeah, because they're gonna want that money right away.
Right.
We've
That was
we've
my
never, yeah, we've never been successful on a HELOC, because that's, yeah, it's a credit line, right? So it's not
Right.
necessarily a mortgage amortized over 30 years or anything. And typically HELOCs are adjustable as well too. So
Yep.
even if you could, right, your rate's gonna keep going up if you don't pay them off. So
And
yeah,
theirs
that,
probably did just shoot up, and that's probably why they went completely out.
yep,
Makes sense.
yep. That's a
Okay.
tough one, man. That
All
sucks.
right, man. A learning experience. I appreciate it.
Right on. No worries, bro. Appreciate it. All right. No one else has their hand raised. I don't know if you guys have any more questions. We have quite a few people in here. I want to say I missed a question earlier. Armando asked earlier, I don't know if he's still in here. He asked, how do we figure out a cap rate on a single family residence property when we can't find any recently sold properties to sufficiently comp? Armando, I don't know if you're still here, bro. I don't quite understand that question. It sounds like there maybe are a couple of questions in that one. So I don't know if you're still here, bro. I do see you. Tasha says, if a property is $200,000 with 4 mobile homes, are all 1 bed, 1 bath. They have never been lived in. From my understanding, seller is possibly open to seller finance. He wants a number thrown at him. What would be a good offer to present to him? No worries, Tasha. It's not a crazy question. So he wants 200,000, but you're not sure if you should offer that. Kind of, I don't know if you're here, you want to unmute and give some more info on it.
Okay, hello, how are you?
Hi, good. Nice to meet you, Tasha.
Oh,
Nice to meet
Tasha, is
you.
this the deal that you sent in today?
Oh no, this is something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is something else. Yeah, he's what happened was it's a son and a father, but the father unfortunately passed on. And before he passed on, him and the son was prepared to they got 4 trailers and they put it on some land and they was gonna, run it out and have some cash flow coming out of it. But the father passed up and everything, and the son pretty much don't know what to do with it. He just want to outright just get rid of it, cash. But the agent was saying that he possibly might be open to seller finance, but he want to do, very quick short terms.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that sounds like a perfect scenario for seller finance because he was already he already put his money in it, right? What he was expecting was cash flow. So if you can offer him seller finance where you give him a down payment and then essentially monthly payments, right? That's cash flow. So that's really what he was looking for. And then he wouldn't have to do any of the maintenance or management. So I would say obviously a cash offer it's going to have to be pretty low. We'd want to take a look at the deal and see, what would make the most sense. But yeah, seller finance, it just kind of all depends, right? What he's looking for. As far as a short term, anytime we do seller finance, we're going to amortize it over 20, 30 years, but we could put a balloon in there at 5 or 10 years. You just kind of want to know a little bit more about what he's looking for. Anytime you go into Chase or Wells Fargo and you're looking for a loan, right? They're going to tell you, okay, we want 10% down. Your interest rate is 3% and it's a 360-month term, right? So really that's what you need from him. Like if they're open to seller finance, what down payment would they want and what monthly payments would they want and how soon would they want a balloon? You need to know those 3 things.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, the agent said that he was possibly open to it, but if he was gonna do that, he wanted to have the terms at least 10 years. She said she think at 10 years term.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So I would find out how much they can rent for. let's say just for an example, right? Like each mobile home brings in, let's just call it $500 a month for just easy math, right? So you're grossing $2,000 a month. You'd probably want to pay that seller around $700 to maybe $1,000 a month. Maybe, yeah, 700 is probably a safe number. And this is just an example. I'm not too sure, right? You want to check what it could rent for, but yeah, I mean, really, you're just trying to see, okay. Ideally, anytime, that's always tough. Anytime an agent's like, they'd be open to seller finance, but we want to see your offer first. I would just send something with 10% down, maybe even 5%. You never know.
Okay.
And then I would even structure their payments over 30 years with 0% interest, with a balloon in 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no worries.
I look forward to working with you all. I spoke
Yeah,
with George briefly earlier.
Hey, Dylan, not to hijack your Zoom, but
no worries, bro.
Seth, just, I know it's something that we normally wouldn't do, but Seth and I were looking at a mobile home park that's up north in Colorado Springs, or up north from Denver, and the property actually wasn't zoned. They've just moved out, and it had been operating for like 10 years. So check on the zoning as well. I think I heard her say that that they just brought trailer houses out there and put it out there. So check the zoning on it. And even though it's an owner finance, check the zoning, because if something happens to those trailer houses and it burns down, then you're still on the hook for that mortgage payment.
Okay.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, check the zoning, because you want to make sure too also that they did it right as well. Like make sure they have a septic tank in there, that they have a well or utility hookup, something like that too. You just want to make sure they did it right. So it sounds like, if 4 mobile homes for 200,000 sounds like a pretty good deal. Where's it at, Tasha? What state?
Georgia.
Okay. Is it near Atlanta or kind of out a little ways?
Oh, it's out. It's about 2.5 hours from Atlanta.
Okay. So yeah, I would say, if they bring in $500 a month in rent, that could be a good deal. That's right there is 1%, right? So anytime you're looking at a home, this one's a perfect example. If it's $200,000 and you can make $2,000 a month, that's what's called the 1% rule, and usually that means it's a good deal. So yeah, just try to find out what those terms are. If they really want you to make an offer, kind of lowball them, and then you'll see where they're at with it, right? Joey always says, like, as an investor, they want to see my offer. My offer is 0% down, 0% interest, right? So, and then see what they say to that. They might come up with some terms. Okay. What up, Maj? Good to see you in here, bro.
Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Tasha.
Really, really hard. I see you didn't get sick.
I got sick. Yeah, I just am over it. My immune system's a little stronger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. They can't hang, huh?
No, they can't hang. Yeah. No, they're pretty sick though. I just called Angie before the Zoom and she sounds like she's on one lung.
Got you, man.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man.
You too, bro. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Armando, okay. So Armando says, so you can't necessarily find comps, right? So you're trying to say like, okay, so if in this market, usually people buy homes at, let's say, a 5% cap rate. What is cap rate and how do we calculate it? Okay, so Armando, do you have like a specific deal in mind or that you can share with us or anything like that?
No, I don't have a specific one in mind. It's just I've been seeing some
some properties listed out there. And so I'm trying to ask them for, proof of comps, if they can send me any comps, to prove their ARV that they're trying to put out there. And they say that they're basing it off of a cap rate. So I'm like, well, I can't, tell them, well, your ARV is wrong, because I don't know how to figure out cap rate.
Right. No, that's a great question. So I'll just quickly kind of go over what's cash on cash versus what is cap rate. Okay. So just for an example, okay, so let's say you have a $500,000 house. My handwriting is really bad, I know. A $500,000 house, and let's say your net operating income. So that means like your rent that you bring in minus expenses. What is that number? Let's say, for example, it's $5,000 a year. Okay. So cash on cash, right? If I make $5,000 a year, but this, let's say for an example, this is a seller finance, right? And I only put, let's say, 20,000 into the deal. That was my down payment or my entry cost. So cash on cash, you're going to take your $5,000 that you're making every year divided by your entry cost. Okay. So just your entry cost, and that equals 25% cash on cash. Okay. So now cap rate is very similar. So again, if my purchase price is 500,000, and let's say, obviously up here on cash, this is, let's say, seller finance, for example. So if I'm netting $5,000 after I pay all my expenses and my mortgage, so let's say cap rate, usually these make sense for cash deals. If you're going to hold it, right? So let's say if I bought this property in cash and I don't have a mortgage, right? Let's say I net $20,000 at the end of the year. Really, cap rate, you're just taking 20,000 divided by your total purchase price. So 20,000 divided by 500,000, and that comes out to 4% cap rate. Okay. So did they share with you, Armando, how much it would net in income every year?
No, none of them show how much they'll net in income. They just show, the ARV, just like how we would see it if they did have other comparables for fix and flip, or just recently sold properties. They didn't mention anything about income.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough. It sounds like they're just not giving you enough information. So I would say try to get more information out of them. Let them know, hey, I'd love to make an offer on this, but I need a little bit more information. Like, I'm having a hard time finding comparables. Do you guys have a CMA that you can send me? CMA stands for comparative market analysis, which as an agent, if they're really trying to only sell to investors, they should have put together a CMA. So I would let them know, hey, I need a little bit more info before I send an offer.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Right on.
I know where you're going with that.
Okay. Right on. Appreciate you, Armando. All right. Let me see if I have time for one more. Joel has a question. What deal structure those doing multifamily in here you all love on the slightly smaller deals that are less than 50 units? Sorry, Joel, I don't necessarily understand your question. Oh yeah, Donda brings up a good point. The Pace is going to be doing the Gator Challenge again. So he does, a few days out of every month, he does his own Gator Challenge. So make sure you guys are on that as well too. Obviously, if you guys like learning from us,
Pace has a little bit more experience, so he's going to be able to share with you guys, you know, a lot more valuable information. So make sure you guys are jumping on the Gator Zooms with Pace tomorrow as well too. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I understand your question, Joel. Yeah, I think you're asking like what are we looking for as far as kind of the smaller multifamilies go. Definitely for us at least, it's going to be anything creative. We're not really looking at anything unless it's off market. If it's on market, we're just not too interested unless they're open to seller finance or something along those lines. So right on. Let me kind of end this. Okay, you got it right on. Thanks, Joel. Let me kind of end this Zoom. So again, guys, the point of this elephant challenge is, unless you guys already know how to find a deal, get it under contract, right? Call an agent, find comparables, do transactional coordination. You already have money for Gator lending. You already have a huge list of buyers that you can wholesale your deals to. Unless you already have those things, the point of this elephant challenge is to joint venture with leaders that are already doing what you're looking to do. So people in here like Raymond Vieira, Maj Saeed, and other sub-2 students in here that are already doing that, right? Like, the point is to joint venture and squad up with those people so that way they can walk you through a deal or two. That way you also get paid to learn, and then you can do it on your own too. So if you guys have any leads or deals that you have questions on, feel free to submit them to our Zoho form, and I'm going to post the link to that in the chat here in a second as well. So there you go. Maj posted his number too. Oh, that's a huge one. Okay, that's not the one I was trying to do. That's my Facebook though, if you guys want to add me as a friend. So there's that Zoho form. If you guys have any questions about, you know, what to do on a lead, send it through that form and we'll go ahead and give you a call. Another thing too, I don't know if Logan's in here. Yeah, Joel, we do have we've called agents before in the past as well on quite a few of these Zooms. I don't know if Angie's still in here, if she's listening, but there is a record of all of our past Zooms. You can go and see any of the ones we've done with live agent calls, and maybe on Friday we can do that as well too. Jump on the phone with some agents and see if we can't do that. But the last point I wanted to bring up before we end it, one of the baby elephants, his name's Logan. I don't think he's in here, but I wanted to shout him out. What he's been doing, and it's kind of a new way, you know, we're shifting, is he'll probably call 20 agents or 30 agents every day and kind of just tee us up for a three-way conversation. So literally the past few days, I've been getting on the phone with Logan, and then we'll call an agent, pitch creative finance, see if they want a letter of intent, and then we'll call the next one. And then we'll keep doing that over and over again. So if you guys want a JV, you know, just start calling agents like crazy and we'll get on the phone with you and pitch seller finance and pitch creative finance, help you write a letter of intent. And then once we get under contract, we'll take it from there. So just kind of wanted to lead with that, you guys. Right on. That's a good one, huh, Donda? So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to shoot me or Joey or Angie or Dominic a text message. I'm going to post my phone number in the chat one more time. Thank you guys for showing up. We'll see you Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. We run another Zoom. If you guys have any questions, again, hit us up. But if not, we'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.